you do work with a number of athletes and executives on helping them to tell their story and to make a positive impact on others. I know that athletes have a larger platform and that they are sought out for things like that. But what do you know to be true about the impact that any individual can make if they are willing to share their stories and experiences?
Wow, I think that certainly I would just affirm that question and that statement that anybody can have an impact. But the phrase that comes to mind in this context for me is this idea of, yeah, me too. And what I mean by that is this relatability. When you hear somebody share an experience or a story about, a life experience that they went through, and you can relate to it, there's this connection that resonates. This, oh yeah, I get that. And I want to just, use the example of someone who I worked with for a number of years, and many people will recognize this name and some will not. So if you don't, I encourage you to Google it. But Marion Jones, and she, former track athlete, won 5 medals at the Sydney Olympics. And then you can read about the rest of her story. But boy, I tell you, when she would go and speak to audiences, of 100, of 1,000, of 5,000, and she would share her story, you would go, well, how can somebody in the audience relate to this speaker who won 5 medals at an Olympics, right? But boy, did she captivate people, because she was able to share with them. It's not about getting across the finish line faster than anyone else. It was about that she made a mistake and how she responded to that mistake and what she can then help others to understand about it. For example, for her, she would say, if I had just taken a timeout, if I had taken 30 seconds before responding to this interrogation, my life would have looked a lot differently. And that's just one example of her story, but it's this relatability that resonates, I think. And so when you hear someone share a story and you go, oh yeah, I feel that way. Yeah, me too. I think you can have a very, very strong impact. And that's across the board. That's for a former Olympic athlete. That's for somebody who is broadcaster and on TV and very recognizable, and people in our everyday lives. But there's this level of vulnerability that comes with that. It requires truth. But I think it really opens the door when someone says, yeah, I get what you're talking about. And it gives them the courage to share their story.